Hey guys, welcome back to class. This will be our very first video assignment and lesson. So here we go. We got the quadratic formula. We got 4 examples. Let's roll. So probably you will recognize this massive quadratic formula once we get it up there on the board. So you have a lot of A's, B's, and C's to plug into this giant formula. So quadratic formula is definitely something you've done before. It'll be something you're doing this semester. It'll be next math class you take. You're not getting out of this one. So quadratic formula, have to know, probably get it memorized soon too. We're going to use this today to solve the next 3 examples. So here we go. Let's do some examples of how to use quadratic formula, how we're going to make it work for us to solve these problems. Number 2, let's go x squared minus 8x equals negative 15. Okay, so when you do these problems, you've got your x squared, you've got your x, but you have a number over here on the right side. For quadratic formula, everything has to be together. So you've got to grab this 15 and get him back on this side. So remember, when he jumps back over, you got to change him from a negative 15 to a positive 15. Make sure you change that sign. And you now have what you wanted to accomplish. It's set equal to 0. So when you do quadratic formula, everything must set equal to 0. Okay, from here, we can pick out our A's, our B's, and our C's that we're going to use to pump back into our equation. So number in front of x squared, the number in front of x, your number sitting right there, that makes up your A's, B's, and C's. No coefficient of x squared, so we can put in, understood 1. It's not just an 8, but it's a negative 8. That's going to be our b value, coefficient of x. And then we have our 15 down on the end for c. So once you have them in order, once it's set at equals 0, then and only then can you get your a, b, and c values. All right, once we have a's, b's, c's, they're going into this formula, b squared. Whoa. Excuse me, negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So here it is again, quadratic formula. We got to take these values and pump them in there. How I like to write it, I like to get all my letters out of the way and make parentheses where I can substitute them in there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 substitutions I've got to make with my A's, B's, and C's. So my first 2 spots are designated for B values. B is negative 8, negative 8. Next on the block is an A and a C. So here's my A, C. I've got an A on bottom. A is equal to 1. So there's my A equals 1. C equals 15. You plug in the 15. So now I've got all my values for A's, B's, and C's plugged into the exact correct places for my equation. So we do a little cleanup. Negative times negative, positive 8. And then what happens when you take a negative number and you square it? A negative number squared turns out to be a positive 64. And then 4 times 15, that gives you the 60. 2 times 1 is 2. So we're cleaning it up. We're doing a little bit of math each time. Underneath my big square root sign, I have 64 minus 60. So 64 minus 60, that's a 4. And this is over 2. So here we go. Square root of 4, we cut a huge break there. Nice, neat number. Square root of 4 is 2. So we have 8 plus or minus 2 divided by 2. This is where your plus or minus comes in and will give you 2 answers. So you got to do 8 plus 2 divided by 2 and 8 minus 2 divided by 2. So one with a plus, one with a minus. That gives you 2 math problems. 10 divided by 2 and 6 divided by 2. So we're almost done with this. So 10 divided by 2 gives you a 5. 6 divided by 2 gives you a 3. So your two answers for solving this quadratic equation with the quadratic formula gives us a 5 and a 3. So this is what we're looking for on this first assignment with the video. So there we go, 5 and 3. All right, that'll get us through the first one. Let's do a couple more examples. Number 3, x squared. Let's see what we got here. Minus 3x equals 18. And again, whenever you get these problems, they don't always set it equal to 0 for you. You have to do that first step of moving the 18 over so it does set equal to 0. And caution, it's positive 18, which means when you move it, it becomes negative 18. All right, here we go. We've got x squared minus 3x minus 18. So we can pick out, again, our a's, b's, and c's. So nothing here, negative 3 there, negative 18 there. So your a value, again, is an understood 1. B value, negative 3. C value, negative 18. So you have picked out your a's, b's, and c's, and you can only do this when it's set equal to 0. Don't try to find an a, b, and c until you've got it in order set equal to 0. Okay, here we go. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. All this is over 2a. So what you've got is your quadratic formula. I already took out all the a's, b's, and c's, left open spots for these numbers to plug in there. Your first two spots are dedicated for your b values. So that's negative 3, negative 3. Sitting up here and down below is your a. It's a 1, it's a 1. Careful, your c value is a negative 18. So what you've got here are several places where negatives get together that can really mess you up. Like right off the bat, negative times negative, positive 3. Next problem, a negative number squared. A negative number squared, also a positive. That's 9. This is the one that a lot of people miss. Gosh, you have a 4 times 18 is 72, but negative times negative makes that positive 72. So most people miss that. They just leave it a negative. So don't forget, if this is negative, hits that negative, you get a positive right there. All right, let's start cleaning up the mess. Here we go. We've got 3 plus or minus 9 plus 72, that's 81. And again, we catch a huge break. The 81's a nice, neat number. No stress. Square root of 81 is going to be 9. So you got 3 plus or minus 9 over 2. So it was square root of 81. That becomes 9. So you split it into two problems. The plus or minus means you're doing 3 plus 9 and you're doing 3 minus 9. So that gives you your two parts for your two answers. 3 plus 9 is 12 over 2. 3 minus 9 is negative 6 over 2. So again, the plus and the minus give you your two answers. When you have 3 plus 9, that's the 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 3 minus 9 gives you the negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So right here is going to be your final answers, and you've solved this by quadratic formula. So that's 2 looks at it. Let's do one more. So one more example. Quadratic formula, here we go. So number 4, x squared plus 6x equal to 7. So last example, quadratic formula for this round. Set equal to a 7, that's not 0. Grab that 7, move him over. Remember, when he jumps over, he was positive 7. Coming over here, negative 7. Once again, you've got everything the way you like it. A, B, C set equal to 0. So we can pick out our value for A, our value for B, and our value for C. Understood 1, positive 6, C is negative 7. So once you have it organized and your A's, B's, C's are set, Remember, it's quadratic formula. But the way I like to write it is opening up all these for my substitutions. So that's the way I like to write it. Here's my B's, here's my A, C, A on the bottom. I've got everything open. I can grab these and just plug them right in there. First value is a B, that's +6, +6. A, +1, +1. Uh-oh, C's a negative again. Oh boy, here it comes again. So, you got to be careful with those two negative signs. You got to be careful with them. Let's get this one out of the way. Get another step down here. So, -6 plus or minus 6 squared, that's 36. But here it is. We know 4 times 7 is 28. But -4 times -7, +28. So somebody somewhere is going to miss that. It's not going to be us. Just some other kid. All right, make sure you make that a positive. Let's get to cleaning this up. Okay, here we go. -6 plus or minus. We got 36 plus 28, 64. And then we got an awesome number, square root of 64. We know that's going to be an 8 divided by 2. So 64, square root of 64 is 8. And we've got our split. We've got -6 plus 8 divided by 2. And -6 minus 8 divided by 2. So again, the plus or minus gives you one with plus, one with minus, and we got them split. Let's go 2 divided by 2 and -14 divided by 2. So here we have 2 divided by 2 and -14 divided by 2. So you get your two answers for this. You've got 2 divided by 2 is 1, -14 divided by 2 is -7. So this is what you're looking for your final answer. So when you're doing quadratic formula, you get your two answers, x equals 1 and x equals -7. All right, guys, here's the story. First assignment. So we're going to call this Homework-1. Very first assignment. I'm going to put 4 problems on this board right in front of me right now. And you're going to be responsible to make these 4 problems look awesome. Let me get them at x squared plus 6x equals -8. X squared minus 8x equals 9. X squared minus 2x equals 24. X squared minus 9x equals -14. All right, guys, here's your first homework assignment. Your job. Copy these 4 problems down on your own paper. Work all 4 of them. It'll fit perfect on the front side of a paper. Make it look awesome. Write the question. Show your steps. Make everything look great. Take a picture of the assignment when you completed it, and you're going to email me that picture. All right. This is going to be due on Friday, April 3rd. Due on Friday, April 3rd. Get it to me by noon. So this first assignment, there's going to be lots of them. You've got 4 problems. Copy them down, put them on paper, show all your steps, make it look fabulous. After you've got it perfect, just take a picture of it. Email me that picture to my email address at NOC. Deadline is Friday, April 3rd, high noon. So by 12 o'clock, you've sent this to me, Friday, April 3rd. All right, guys. That's it for today.